That night, you're sitting on the bed, your back against the wall, an old fan rattling softly as it spins in a tired rhythm. Your phone lights up, then goes dark again. The message comes a little later than usual. You stare at the screen for a few extra seconds, your chest sinking slightly, and then, relief. It's their name. Just one short sentence. "I'm busy. We'll talk tomorrow." And somehow you feel lighter, like you've been given permission to breathe again. The sad part is, you don't even notice when your sense of safety started depending on messages this small. If this image feels familiar, you're not weak, and you're definitely not foolish. There's a reason for it, one you may never have had words for. Stockholm Syndrome sounds distant, almost cinematic. Hostages, locked rooms, extreme situations. But in real life, it shows up quietly. No chains, no locked doors, just relationships where the person who hurts you is also the only one who can soothe you, even if only a little. And you cling to that little, like someone holding onto a single drop of rain in a drought. Imagine being in a closed room, the lights dim, the air heavy and stale. At first, you feel uncomfortable, restless. Then someone cracks open a window for a few seconds. Just a few. A breath of fresh air slips in. And here's the strange thing. You stop thinking about leaving the room. Instead, you start waiting for them to open the window again. You don't plan your escape, you wait. In love, this often begins gently. They may be distant, controlling, constantly making you feel like you're the problem. But once in a while, they soften. A hug, a half apology, one calm evening that feels almost peaceful. Your body remembers those moments instantly. Your chest loosens, your shoulders drop. You tell yourself, see, they're not that bad. And you stay, not because you're happy, but because you're hopeful. What's hard to admit is that this doesn't only happen in romantic relationships. It happens in families too. At dinner tables where you're criticized, compared, made to feel like you're never enough. And then one rare compliment appears, one small moment of approval, and you melt. You try harder, you endure more, just to hear another gentle word. It happens at work as well. A boss who keeps you anxious, constantly on edge, but occasionally tells you you have potential. So you stay. You work late. You swallow the discomfort. You call it loyalty. You call it resilience. But deep inside, something is slowly being drained. If you find yourself in relationships like these, let me say this softly. You don't love the pain. You love the feeling of survival inside it. And why that happens, we'll talk about that in the next part. Here's the part people rarely tell you. Stockholm Syndrome isn't about affection in the way movies portray it. It's about relief. It's about your nervous system learning a dangerous equation. Pain first, calm later. Over time, your body starts craving the calm so much that it tolerates the pain automatically, almost without asking you anymore. Think of it like a light switch in a dark hallway. The hallway is always dark. You keep bumping into things, your knees bruised, your breath short. Then someone turns the light on for 5 seconds, just 5. Your eyes adjust, your heart slows, and before you can move, the light is gone again. And instead of running out of the hallway, you stand still, waiting for those 5 seconds to return. Your brain starts associating that person with safety, even though they're the reason the hallway is dark in the first place. In a romantic relationship, this shows up in ways that are painfully ordinary. They ignore you for days, then suddenly act kind. Your stomach had been tight, your jaw clenched, your sleep shallow. The moment they soften, your body releases all that tension at once. Dopamine, oxytocin, relief, all of it floods in. And your brain records this as love. Not because it's healthy, but because it's intense. Real love feels steady. Trauma-bonded love feels like drowning and gasping for air at the same time. And then there's the voice inside your head, the one that says, but they've been through a lot, or they don't mean to hurt me, or even if I leave, who will I be? That voice isn't stupid, it's protective. Your mind is trying to keep you attached because attachment once meant survival, especially if you grew up in an environment where love was inconsistent, conditional, or earned through obedience. Back then, staying close, even to someone who hurt you, was safer than being alone. You'll see the same pattern in families. A parent who controls, shames, or dismisses you, but sometimes shows pride. Your body lives for those moments. You replay them in your head at night. You minimize the hurt because the warmth feels rare, precious. At work, it's the manager who makes you doubt yourself, then rewards you with praise once in a while. You don't just work for money anymore. You work for emotional oxygen. Now, let's gently stop one thought before it fully forms. Maybe I'm just too sensitive. No, sensitivity is not the problem. Repetition is. A hurtful moment can be a mistake, but a pattern is a choice. A careless word is an accident. Repeating it is a decision. And your nervous system isn't broken for reacting to that. It adapted, very efficiently, actually. So what do you do when you recognize yourself in this? You don't need a dramatic exit. You don't need to confront anyone right away. Start small. The next time they pull away and then come back kind, pause for 2 seconds. Just 2. Notice your body. Does your chest suddenly feel lighter? Do your shoulders drop too fast? That's your body responding to relief, not love. Naming that difference is the first crock of daylight in the hallway. Then, later, maybe with a cup of coffee, the fan humming nearby, write down one sentence they said that stayed with you. Don't analyze it. Just write how your body felt after. Heavy, small, quiet, or calm. Over time, patterns reveal themselves without force. And if you're ready, set one soft boundary, something simple, saying, I need consistency, or I'm not comfortable with that. Watch what happens next. Not the words, the behavior. Someone who cares will adjust. Someone who controls will punish. Before we end, I want you to hear this. You didn't fall in love with your captor because you're weak. You stayed because your brain chose survival over clarity. And now you're allowed to choose differently. Safety doesn't have to hurt first. Love doesn't need to scare you to feel real. And you are allowed to walk out of the hallway without waiting for the light to flicker on again.